And in the end, as the darkness takes me, I am nothing.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. Darth Revan here, peace of I. And this video has been long overdue. And I've tried, believe me, I have tried so hard to record this video and not start screaming and yelling at the top of my lungs. For there is nothing else in this beautiful blue world that I love than Star Wars. It is my favorite story ever told. Lightsabers, hyperdrives, the Force. It all is wonderful to me. The story is so rich and filling, and I just love it so much. Even the prequels, I love them. It is a wonderful story. The books enrich the universe. The expanded universe is wonderful and glorious. And now, Star Wars The Force Awakens happened. Do you know the feeling I had when I watched the new trailer for freaking Star Wars? Do you know the spine-tingling shiver that went down my spine? I have never felt so happy in my life, okay? Ever. Never have I felt so happy. I was like, another Star Wars movie in my lifetime, no less, and it's coming out when? Oh, happy days! But then I went to go see it. I almost had to pull over driving home, cause I was driving so angry. What they did to Star Wars. Oh my gosh, what they did to Star Wars. This is gonna be my personal list of things that I hate about the new Star Wars movie. Now don't get me wrong, there was moments that it was there. That feeling of Star Wars. Oh my gosh, I'm watching Star Wars, a new untold story expanding on Star Wars. There was moments where I had that feeling when Kylo Ren stopped the blaster bolt and held it in midair. I had a nerdgasm in the freaking theater. It was amazing. And I was literally blown away when I saw Han Solo for again, and there was like those moments. But okay, let's just start. When Han Solo lost the Millennium Falcon, when I found out the Millennium Falcon was sitting there on that planet, I immediately lost a lot of faith in the movie. You're telling me Han Solo lost the Millennium Falcon? Ever! No! You can't lose the Millennium Falcon. I'm sorry. Han Solo without the Millennium Falcon is like Luke without his lightsaber. It's like Darth Vader without his helmet. It's like the Empire without building the Death Star. It's not complete. Han Solo can't lose the Millennium Falcon. And by the way, if you haven't seen Star Wars at this point, or heard about everything, I'm sorry if I'm spoiling the movie for you, but you're watching this video, so you should have figured this out anyway. Then, when they meet up with Leia, and C-3PO has a red arm, never explained in the movie. Where did he get the red arm? I know there's a book that explains it, but you can't put that sort of thing into a book. It is literally a way to sell more product. Do you not know what you have? Star Wars will sell no matter what you do. No matter what you do. Star Wars The Force Awakens is the worst movie I have ever seen in my entire life. But yet it grossed a huge profit margin. I have heard so many people say they hate Star Wars The Force Awakens. And they're good for that! I love those people when I hear them say, I hate Star Wars The Force Awakens. I'm immediately their best friend. I immediately would die for that person. Immediately. No question. Because they're a real Star Wars fan. They're not going to let themselves be blinded by Star Wars title, the scrolling screen with the star background. They're not going to be blinded by that. They're going to take what they see, compare it to what they know, and try to make a coherent story out of it. Star Wars The Force Awakens leaves more holes than the entire prequels and the originals combined. There are so many unanswered questions. And I know they're trying to, make it so that they can tell the rest of the story in the next movie, but you can't leave that many holes in your plot! As Han Solo says, not how the Force works. That's not how you tell a story. It is literally A New Hope all over again, just told slightly differently. It is literally A New Hope over again. You can't tell the same story twice. I'm sorry. The reason that the prequels were okay in my book, they're not the best. The originals are better, but the prequels are okay because they weren't the same story over again. They gave us new characters, new story arc. They told the political story of what's going on behind the war, the setup for the fall of the Jedi Order. It told all of these things in a relatively good fashion, which I was able to make a coherent story out of. In freaking Force Awakens, it's ridiculous. It is so... It doesn't bring anything new. I've already heard this story. I know this story by heart. I can quote Star Wars lines to you. Most of them, if not all. From the original and prequels. And then you want to throw this movie at me. I am not going to fall for it. I'm sorry. I love Star Wars, but you ruined it entirely. You're telling me after the... This is my biggest qualm, by the way. My biggest quarrel with the movie is that the First Order was able to construct a planet-sized Death Star. Now, don't give me the crap that it was already sort of hollowed out or whatever, it was already built or whatever. No, they had to hollow out the center of a planet and install a massive array capable of draining the energy from a star, contain that energy, and then fire it into deep space. You're telling me they were able to do all of this while the Empire is falling apart? If you do not know the story, after the Return of the Jedi, the last movie, the Empire falls into chaos and anarchy. The New Republic is established. The Jedi Order is formed. The Empire is driven to the brink of extinction. You're not going to tell me that they have somehow the resources to make a planet-sized Death Star. And it's impractical on levels of impracticality that I can't understand. If they had spent that resources on warships, weapons, and facilities, they would have an unstoppable army. They don't need a super terror weapon. It's already failed twice. Third time's the charm, they say, but you think you would have learned not to put the freaking self-destruct button on the surface of the thing. Why is there a vent? Why is there a vent? I never got that. Why is there a vent that leads to the reactor? The critical part of the system, why is there a vent that leads straight to it from the outside? Can anyone tell me this? And we're just going to put a ray shield over that? That's what? Huh? I don't understand. There's a trench run. Another trench run. There's a young person from the desert taught the ways of the Force, given a lightsaber, and oh my gosh, Rey. Oh, Rey. She was so unrelatable. I could not invest in the character at all. I found her completely bland. No texture, no taste, no depth to who she was. She could have been to see a young new Jedi trying to start out in the world. Yes, it's really just a retelling of Luke's story, but told differently. Just tell a different story. Same basic concept, different story. That's all you had to do. But you took the same concept and told the same story. You can't do that. Rey is literally given all force powers, all mechanical know-how, ace piloting skills. I don't care what you say, the Millennium Falcon is a two-man ship. It requires two people to pilot, a pilot and a co-pilot. It is an older ship, it requires two to fly it. That is how it's designed. Han Solo wouldn't have changed it because he would always have Chewie with him. There is no reason that would have changed ever. And the fact that Rey's able to repair the Millennium Falcon when Han Solo could not was a literal kick in the mouth to us people who love Han Solo. You don't understand, Han Solo's one of the beloved original characters. You can't diminish him like that. You can't make it so he can't figure out how to fix the Millennium Falcon. What you should have done is had Rey mess up the Millennium Falcon and Han know exactly how to fix it. That would have patted the heads of every single Star Wars fan to be like, yes, only Han Solo knows how to fix the Millennium Falcon because it's his ship. It's literally a part of him. It's like Luke's lightsaber. It is a part of him. It's a lightsaber is to a Jedi. The Millennium Falcon is to Han Solo. That is how that's supposed to work. Ow! Oh, and the part where Leia hugged Rey instead of Chewbacca. Is there no one who worked on Star Wars that sat back for a minute and went, what? Rey doesn't know Leia. Rey and Leia have never met before this happened, and they're hugging over Han Solo's death? What? It is literally... What? I'm so lost at this point. I'm on the brink of tears. When I left the theater, I have never felt a moment of rage and hate like that ever in my life. If I was a Sith Lord, I would have had tapped into the deepest levels of the dark side. No question in my mind. The fact that that happened was the final grain of salt in a full shovelful that they shoved into your mouth and put a Star Wars title on it and said, take it! It's yours, yummy, right? No. No. I will never go to see Star Wars The Force Awakens again. I went to see it once on Christmas Eve with my brother, and it was literally the worst night of my life. I was so... Now don't get me... It's not because I went with my brother. It was because the movie was so terrible. It was because I would have rather had another Jar Jar Binks come in and on the screen and be like, hello! I would have been happy with that. I would have forgiven that. Because, believe it or not, I actually like Jar Jar Binks nowadays, considering the theories and stories I've heard about him. And if you haven't heard some of that stuff, go check it out. It's quite interesting, and there's a lot of stuff in it that's so compelling. There's a lot of evidence to prove that he is actually more than he appears to be, but I'll let you go find those videos and watch them for yourself. Or maybe I'll do a video on that. Tell me in the comments if you want that. But when it's all said and done, I love Star Wars more than anything on this blue planet. This tiny blue speck in the vastness of the galaxies, and that's the one thing I truly can say I love with no reservations, is Star Wars. And then this comes along and ruins everything for me. Do not make a repeat of every single movie. If the next movie is literally The Empire Strikes Back, I can't understand. I can't understand. They don't understand. None of these people who are working on Star Wars right now know anything about it. They do not know how lightsaber combat works. Lightsaber combat is a rigorous, hard, and very hard thing to learn. It takes years to master it truly. And then Rey and Finn are able to even stand up to Kylo. Yes, he was injured, but if you injure someone who is in tune with the dark side, it only makes them stronger. That fuels their hate and rage. They turn that pain and fear into anger and hate, and they become stronger. If anything, they should have been incinerated immediately by a wave of force energy. They should not have engaged in a lightsaber duel. Neither of them should have held out a single stroke, and Rey should not have been able to overpower him in the Force tug-of-war for Luke's lightsaber. I'm sorry, but Rey has just tapped into the Force, and already she is outdoing a person who has killed other Jedi. He wiped out Luke Skywalker's academy. He killed other Jedi. That's not easy to do. And you're telling me that this novice girl, from nowhere, from a desert planet, never even known about the Force, truly never had training, is able to do all these things, mind tricks, force pulls, enhancement of the body in order to accelerate her natural abilities, and be able to stand up to Kylo Ren and win? No! She can't win here! Not in the first movie. You don't make it so that your hero is so powerful that the bad guys are insignificant. I'm not afraid for any of them. I'm not afraid for Ren, Kylo, Finn. I'm not afraid for any of them because they're so powerful and they've got plot armor. I already know they've got plot armor, but then you make them so powerful, but so there's no chance at all that these people can get injured or harmed or hurt. When Luke got his hand off, it proved that he was not invincible and that Darth Vader was a threat to him and the galaxy, that our hero was outmatched. But here, Rey mops the floor with Kylo. Already, you have made your main protagonist, or antagonist, not protagonist. You have made your main antagonist inconsequential to the story and made your protagonist so powerful that she's gonna wipe the floor with everything else. If she can beat a freaking Jedi-killing Sith acolyte, then what chance does an entire army of stormtroopers stand? Because they can't hit anything anyway. They got stormtroopers they can't hit. They can't see in those tiny helmets of theirs. It's ridiculous. It ruins the movie. And the fact that they made Kylo Ren a whiny and complaining, he acted like a child. I could not be afraid of him. If I saw him slashing around like that, I'd be like, okay, is this guy, you follow this guy, he's a commander? And wait, he was chosen to be a Sith Lord? Or a dark side acolyte? Huh? I don't understand. This doesn't make sense to me. I can't grasp this in my head. I just can't. I can't like I said, I've tried to record this video since Star Wars The Force Awakens came out in December. And I couldn't do it. I'm surprised I've done so well here. I love Star Wars so much, and I hate to see it turned into a money-making scheme to try to take my childhood, the things I love from my childhood, and just try to extract my hard-earned money by creating unoriginal, wow, very original, very overly original movies telling the same story over again with different characters. I'm not going to fall for it. I'm not going to buy a single Kylo Ren t-shirt. I'm not going to buy action figures. I'm not going to buy models. I'm not going to do any of those things. I am simply going to go see it the one time that I ever did and never again. It doesn't deserve my respect or my money or my love for Star Wars. It will never be encompassed. As far as I'm concerned, the movies that Disney are making are nothing more than fan fiction with a large budget. That is all they are. They will never truly be a part of the Star Wars universe as far as I'm concerned. The EU, an expanded universe, will always be the continuation of the Star Wars story. Whatever Disney comes out with will be seen as nothing more than fan fiction, because it's not Star Wars. It is a perversion of Star Wars. It is it's an abomination to say anything about it. That is what it is. It is literally an abomination that takes everything I love so much and takes a giant steaming crap on what I care so much for. I thank you guys for listening to me talk. If you like this video, tell me in the comments below and leave a like. If you didn't, well, tell me that too, so that way I know not to do this again. I hope you all have a fantastic day. May the Force be with you, and I will catch you on the dark side.